Hi guys, this is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. And for those of you that are supporting me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your subscriptions. They greatly help the channel. If anybody who watches regularly is interested in subscribing, you can certainly go over to patreon.com and look up Engelgeist and subscribe over there. You do get the daily forecast a day early over there, and you're able to see it a little bit before everyone else. You also have access to other videos depending on what subscription level you choose. This is a subscription, a reading for the greater collective, for the highest good. Therefore, it is for multitudes of people. You will need to place it where it fits in your life, if it fits. If it doesn't, that's fine. Don't worry, nothing is wrong. It just might mean you might be working on something slightly different. This is originally created for Wednesday, the 14th of October, but it is a timeless message because it's for the highest good of the greater collective. Therefore, I believe we can utilize this on any day that we see it. If you find it in your feed and it's showing up and you're watching it on a day that's not the 14th of October, that's completely fine. It may still have information for you. So let's get into the cards and see what's going on. This is Wednesday's reading, so we should be hitting that midweek point with that energy of the apple. Alright, so we have, oh, I didn't bring my glasses, shoot. Alright, we have a new witch that I don't think we've seen her. It's all literary witches thus far this week. Interesting. That means that it's a powerful week. These are like major arcana cards for me in this oracle deck. This is Alejandra Pizamic, and her word is solitude. It's interesting she's holding this broken heart. Remember in the early part of the week when I was saying that Gertrude Stein felt like something from our past might be coming back to not haunt us per se, but might be trying to engage us in ways that we no longer want to be engaged in, and we need to sort of shift that perspective. We also saw yesterday's healing card, right, which was this idea of sort of getting in front of maybe the situation, gathering ourselves, connecting ourselves, getting to a state of where we're sort of in charge and able to heal ourselves. This solitude to me makes me feel that there might be some quiet contemplation of some of the changes that have taken place, and really kind of an inventory that we're taking about where we're at, how we stand, how we interact with maybe people from our past. That could be these two women here. Again, we have these flowers, which remind me of the flowers, that rose that Gertrude Stein was holding that we saw. Remember, we have that apple card underneath this energy, and to me, that apple card in the beginning of the week looked very like sort of, you know, abundant, fruitful nourishment, enjoyment, you know, really like relishing, right, in the midweek. Now, because we're at Wednesday, now this woman here, she doesn't look like she's super relishing. She looks more like she's kind of quietly contemplating and going into that state of solitude to kind of weigh what's going on around her, maybe situations that she needs to separate from, depart from, or change altogether, and the emotions around that. But what I think is that where Apple plays into this is we get a moment to kind of come clear with that and understand it for what it is. Does that make sense? So like the apple to me is still that nourishment, it's still that joy and that fruitfulness, but we might have to like clear some things out, feel some things emotionally, really start to understand why things aren't able to, you know, not coexist, but like why we may not be able to interact with things as they are anymore, right? But I think that this is all for a good reason. It is a slightly emotional card. That broken heart speaks to that emotion, but I feel like this is all for the good. This is to hear our own voice clearer and understand what it is that we need versus maybe what others require of us. So let's look at the Queen of the Moon Tarot, Moon Oracle. So this is the Snow Moon, wow, which is purity. I love this card. What's interesting to me is her eyes are covered, and her eyes are downcast in this card, if you notice. It's like we're not looking outward, we're looking inward. the purity of sort of like who we are. The snow moon to me speaks to winter, speaks to solitude again, similar to what we see here in this card. That idea of going inward, finding the answers within ourselves, listening to our own intuition like this moon has here, separating ourselves. And if you look, there's a very small woman here dancing. She's kind of like creating that freedom for herself through going inward, through finding her own answers within herself, through maybe going into a state of solitude or quiet, and really reflecting upon where she's at, how she feels. To me, I feel like when I look at both of these cards together, and it's interesting too because there's this contrast between what we have, this dark card here and this white card here. We have black and like lightness and darkness, like the yin, the yang, right? That balance, right? But both are approaching it in a very similar manner, if that makes sense. Like where this woman in the purity card is blindfolded, and then the woman in the literary witches card and the solitude card is, her eyes are either closed or downcast, right? We're not looking to the outside world. We're looking to our internal world. We're looking to what we need versus what others need of us, right? And we're also looking to adjust some of those things that are no longer working for us. Let's see what the ground means down there. Oh wow. Fuck. Excuse my language. It is freedom. I'm telling you guys, something's going on this week. With all of these literary witches and with these sort of moon cards and kind of the feelings that I'm getting from these cards pairing together, the way that they're pairing, I really feel like this solitude, this inward turn that we see these two cards making, with that idea with the apple underneath, right? We're looking for that nourishment, we're looking for that joy, that fruitfulness, that happiness, that ripeness in life, right? That happiness is also the underpinning stone to this freedom stone, right? When we go inward, we may actually free ourselves. We may actually, it's okay guys, come here. We may actually sort of, it's like when we go within, we actually kind of free ourselves to be able to then go outward. Does that make sense? It's like, I know that sounds crazy, but we free ourselves to experience the world in a whole new way that is more pure, more free, more in line with who we truly are and how we truly feel. That's my feeling with this reading today. So let me look at these cards. Hopefully I can read them without my glasses. Okay, so Alejandro Piasmic is solitude, silence, interiority, and space. Born in Russian Jewish to Russian Jewish parents in Argentina, Alejandra Piasmic, who lived from 1936 to 1972, was educated in both Yiddish and Spanish, but wrote in Spanish. Her poetry of imagistic purity, oh there's that word purity, how weird, and surrealist influence summons themes of silence, absence, madness, and death again and again. Her own struggle with depression led to an intentional overdose of Secanol at the age of 36. Already idolized by Spanish-speaking writers, her genius deserves a global readership. Interesting. I don't feel like, I mean, some of you might be feeling very emotional. It might be a little bit hard right now, but I feel like this purity moon kind of, the snow moon of this card purity kind of balances that out between the light and the dark, and we need to kind of make sure that we obtain that balance so that we can have just freedom from whatever emotionally may be bearing heavy on us. So the snow moon, purity. Look for the simplest and cleanest solution. Understand your motives for doing what you are doing. Be as clear as possible in your communication. I know why I do what I do. The word purity now seems to have a kind of loaded moral quality. Anytime I mention the word, people mostly think about how it's used in religions or in morals. For example, the purity of virgins, the purity of no sex before marriage, the purity of celibacy, the purity of bloodlines of certain extreme right-wing groups. No wonder we use the word with some trepidation. The purity I refer to here is the purity of the silver moon on the unmarked snow, the simple purity of intention that nature demonstrates, the purity of clean water in a mountain stream, the purity of one's single purpose. The Cambridge Dictionary defines this kind of purity as being clean from or free from harmful substances. And I guess in our world, so full of pollution and damage to the environment that may well be hard to find. However, the ancient looked at the cycles that brought ice and snow as a sort of reset button, a time when everything lay fallow for a while and brought with it a kind of simplicity. These times were hard, but if we were prepared for them, we would survive. There are good reasons to strive for a kind of positive purity in our lives, both being precise with our language and as clear as we can be in our communications means fewer miscommunications and misunderstandings in our relationship and work life. Keeping our intentions pure and untainted with lower energies such as jealousy, revenge, or unworthiness as much as possible means that our motivations are pure and not muddy in their reasoning. The companion stone or metal is clear quartz, very pure stone. So I think that that's your forecast, guys. It's like sort of go inward, seek out understanding your emotional stuff, even if it's a little bit dark. Remember that there's a balance that's taking place. If you sort of purify them by accepting them, understanding them, owning them, and kind of balancing them out, you obtain this freedom that allows you to sort of seek out that happiness that we're looking for this week. That is your forecast for the day. Thank you for tuning in. Please give me a thumbs up. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I love you all. Take care. Bye-bye.